Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to About the Arts. This is where Tim and I sit down and discuss local art here the first Wednesday of every month, right before the first Thursday Art Walk. Sometimes we'll have guests on. Today it's just going to be me and Tim in an off month. How you doing, Tim?
Great, Chuck. How about yourself?
Outstanding. How now I'm just going to go ahead and lead on the show with this. You came in here with a little bit of an injury. Do you mind talking about that?
Broken finger, index finger, right index finger. It's
You don't
gonna
have
make it a little bit hard to do my jewelry,
Yeah.
but it's gallery week, so that usually dominates what I'm doing.
Oh, yeah.
Getting the gallery ready and moving the ball forward.
Wow. Well, for those of you listeners that don't know already, Tim is our owner of the Trails End Art Gallery here in town. He's responsible for starting the first Thursday Art Walk that's happening tomorrow right here in Chewelah. And we've got a great art walk planned for tomorrow. We've got lots of fun stuff going on. And, we're going to talk about it.
Yeah,
So other than your finger, how are you doing today, Tim?
good.
Sorry,
Good.
I didn't mean to lead off with that. It's on my mind.
Well, it amazes me some days, like today, actually. I had a little more time to reflect since I can't sit at the jeweler's bench and get anything done. And I just thought, God, we are in our 10th year here in Chewelah.
Wow.
Yeah. I started first Thursday in January of 2016.
Wow. Are you going to have a big 10-year anniversary thing scheduled?
I think we probably better.
I think we'd better as well.
Yeah, we'll figure that one out.
Absolutely.
That sounds like a January combination New Year 10-year anniversary party.
It really does. I know
Yeah.
generally the Creative District doesn't do stuff for the Spotlight Gallery in the wintertime, but I think for that one we can probably make an exception.
I think it'd be fun actually to have like a dress up evening.
Ooh.
Have a fun
A formal.
party. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just kick it up a notch.
Do you mean dress up like formal or dress up like
I don't know.
however
Just
you want?
people wear whatever they want. I just think it would be fun to celebrate.
I agree.
So
I think
so
that would be a ton of fun.
We'll figure that out. But I think January, since you're kind of biding your time, waiting for all the Winterfest art to come in the latter part of the month.
Yeah.
That be a good time to just stop and smell the roses a little bit, I guess, or
Maybe just do it for the sake of
sniff
having
the
a good time.
champagne.
Yeah. So tell us what we got going on this art walk that's happening tomorrow from 5:30 to 8:30, correct? I can't even
Yep,
speak.
five to
Stutter.
8, and we've got Nancy Bloom is
Mhm.
at Quartzite Brewing. I went by there. She's got some nice new work there.
Nice.
The Yale Press does not have an artist, so they won't be participating this month. But the Spotlight Gallery will have Amber Semenza, Wendy Coleman, and Jerry Lynn Lockwood from Colville and Kettle Falls. I think Jerry Lynn's from Kettle Falls.
Yeah.
But they're encaustic artists. So encaustic is the technique of using beeswax and infusing it with color and layering and basically painting with that. It's an old world medium,
Yeah.
really, and to my knowledge. I like it because there's a lot of depth, and the colors are interesting and saturated. And these artists are usually in the Winterfest. They submit every year. Although last year, Jerry Lynn Lockwood, that was her first year to submit and
Yeah.
get into that show. But Amber and Wendy have been in that show from the first year that we had it, the juried show. And
Yeah.
they do good work. It's fun to see what they've done, and they're actually nurses up in Colville, but they really got interested in encaustic painting, I guess, close to 10 years ago. And so it's really fun to witness them develop that
Yeah.
technique and skill. And in some ways, it's kind of fun. We have a few artists that are self-taught, and I think the interesting thing about that is you're not, like in art school, you kind of learn the rules to break the rules. And there's, I was pretty classically taught by all my teachers, whether it was sculpture, painting, drawing, you name it.
Here's all the rules, kids. Now,
well,
forget 'em.
I mean, there's the way it's taught, but but if you don't learn with those blinders on, I think
Right.
there's arguably more freedom in a sense, but there's trade-offs.
Yeah.
So, but it's kind of fun. It's fun to see what people produce and what their background is, whether they've are degreed and classically trained, or whether they're just naturally talented and have really picked up something and developed it with their own language.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and we're talking about you've been at this the art walk for 10 years now for the art gallery. One of the things I love, and I've been involved with it long enough now to where I'm really seeing it, is to see the evolution of the artists. And we talk about this a lot, sort of, where these artists came from, especially the ones that submit regularly that are, some of our local artists.
Yeah.
That you see their growth
Yeah.
over the years, and some of it's astounding. And it's not just the growth over the years, it's how quickly some of them go from year to year,
Well, and I think it's really the Winterfest, the juried exhibit is really fun because, regularly I really do curate and I'm, trying to build the gallery as I see and the talent arises.
Right.
But it's really fun when you have a juried show or an open show where you get to see more. You get to see art, and there's always some surprise.
Yeah.
It like with the Winterfest, it was usually the top. I mean, the cream rose to the top. There's all levels. Let's put it that way. But the really nice top level work, those people most of them are showing in the gallery now. So
Right.
It was a great opportunity for me to see more work from someone. And it's hard. You'll get people that want to come in and pull out their phone and show you what they're doing, and
Yeah.
and there's got to be a little bit more of a formal process to it, really, to be able to like email them to me, and let me look
Right.
at them and let me take my time with it,
You can
and
zoom
instead
in
of being
and blow
put
it
on
up
the
and-
spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we do have new work in by Gail Johannes.
Nice.
She's really good about bringing new stuff in. I redid the window. Got new work by Brad McDonald. And Brad, Melissa Cole, who's one of our top artists, she's got some really cool sculptural pieces that are out there that she designed. And Brad is a metal fabricator and sculptor. And so he has all the tools to bring her ideas and concepts to life. And then,
Nice.
it's definitely a joint project on their part. But so I've got pieces by Brad in the window. It's really neat.
That is cool.
The window, it's got these giant, he's a fly fisherman, so these giant flies, like
nice.
a parachute, like an Adams or
Oh, yeah.
all these, a beadhead nymph, these kind of flies. Well, they're the size of a head, so it's kind of fun to see them all fabricated. So I've kind of aggregated any fishing paintings that I have in the gallery. I created a whole window around this
Right. Nice.
and it's really fun looking. And then there's new stuff on the other side. And then another artist, Elsie Stewart, who's a Spokane area artist. I think she's originally from the Midwest, is where she got her degree. But a really good painter. She's been painting 60 years. And some really beautiful figurative pieces. And she paints in acrylic. And just a real interesting selection of work that she brought by. So, you try to freshen the gallery up. So I took some things down and moved some things around and created a new area with her work. And you're always looking to try to keep things fresh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the big thing that we're working on is Rick Jondro was the Native American artist from the Colville Reservation. He's also a Umatilla tribal member. But Rick passed 2 years ago. And almost 2 years ago. Yeah, no, it's 2 years ago. Excuse me. But I've been working with the estate and his daughter. And I have all Rick's residual, all the inventory, what he was working on in the last months of his life. And it's become a huge project. I've borrowed work back from people who collect his art. And I've been taking the work to Spokane Art Supply. And Kurt Schmier, the guy who runs the whole printing printmaking scene down there. So he's scanning everything. And what we're doing is, Rick pretty much avoided doing prints. He really wanted to just do originals.
Right.
And the few prints that I've seen were taken from digital photographs, and it's not the same as having a piece scanned.
No.
For a canvas giclée print or a paper giclée print. And that's just a really super high quality print. So I've got 26 pieces at this point that we're just finishing up on doing the final proofing. But it was a way for the family to gain a residual income off of all his work.
Yeah.
And this is a big deal. I'm really hoping that maybe a year from now I'll be able to have a show with his originals in it for sale, as well as probably sooner than that, maybe in the next 3-4 months, have prints available for sale.
Yeah.
Nice giclée prints. For the most part, I'm going 1-to-1 on the size. Some of the real big pieces of his, I might you scan it full size, but I won't print it that large. It's really expensive.
Right. So
but
explain to people listening the giclée. What is that?
Well, giclée is a term. Sure, the word's French, but I think it was just developed to the old printing, say from 30 years ago, would have been what's just a regular, what they call a lithograph. And it's really a low quality print. When you see the two side by side, there is just absolutely no comparison. Now the scanner that it takes to create a giclée print can scan up to, I believe, 8 feet by 8 feet. So you can imagine, and it's has two cameras, one's offset a little bit, so that really gets the depth of the piece as well to help in the printing process. But I can't imagine how many millions of pixels of color that this thing's generating, the file. But so it's a digital process, yes, but then it's printed on canvas. There's kind of a prepared surface that it prints on, and then for the canvas prints, then you can stretch them, just like you would a normal canvas. And then you put a archival finish on it, or, let's say someone wants, a satin finish or a high gloss or this or that. It just depends on the piece.
Right.
And then for paper, it's the same way. Paper's just a straight, I don't think it uses two cameras in the scan process, but it generates a quality of print that you just don't get.
Yeah.
With normal, digital. Well, let's just do our posters turn out pretty nice, but they're nowhere near the quality or the archival.
Right.
These pieces are archival, meaning they should last decades,
So
if not hundreds of years, literally.
wow. So then is this a process where they lay it out on a table and the camera scans it, moves around it, or is it?
I've never watched it being scanned before. I've seen the actual printer, but I haven't looked at the scanner.
'Cause I've been in the store and I've been in their
yeah,
print
I
room,
haven't-
and their
I
print room is
haven't-
massive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I haven't been in there to check it out. I suppose I should, just so I'm more knowledgeable. But I've been making trips down there to do color proofing
Yeah.
and go, okay, yeah, maybe a little bit too much magenta here or this or that there, or some things, depending on if there was any metallics used in the paint,
Right.
that you get a reflective. It doesn't come out that way in the print. It'll come out more opaque. It'll just convert that base color and to be more opaque. So you look at it. It's not going to be 100% like the original.
Right. Right.
But it'll be really high quality.
as close as you can get.
Yeah, as close as you can get.
Yeah.
And it's kind of fun. I'm working with them. For the paper prints, I want enough margin around it that will have the registry number, because these will be limited editions. So you'll have that number, and then I'll handwrite in there the title, and then what I'm working with. Rick at one point thought about having it's like a heart with the sun and his initials in the heart for his signature. So I thought it'd be really fun. I've copied it and rendered it and then sent it to the family with the idea that, look, we could have a stamp made of this, and what we were after, what we would be using this for, is kind of the estate's stamp, the provenance stamp of any and all prints that we'll do should have that mark, as well as probably a certificate of authenticity. Just you want to control that.
Absolutely.
They own the copyright. I'm merely a broker, for lack of a better word, and I'm managing this whole project.
Yeah.
And so, I went over to his daughter's house in Nispelem 3 weeks ago, and loaded up all his remaining inventory. And so I've got that at the gallery, and we've been going through it, and I've got taken some down for scanning. Some stuff she has to come over, and we really need to go through it and to fully understand what we have. But I'm doing the paper prints too, because I want her to be able to do like a definitive coffee table book.
Yeah.
And so this benefits them through that process, and
Right, because then they'll have those digital files, right? That they can.
Yes, and they own the files.
Yeah.
Yep. They own the files, but so I've identified a couple through friends who collect his work. A couple people who have a lot of work. One man has 40 originals, and another, and they were people that really helped him out, in the earlier stages of his career. So I'm trying to get a hold of these people, and other people have willingly come forward once they heard what we were doing, the project. I'm just calling it the Legacy Project. And they're offering their pieces that they have for us to scan. Obviously, we're just borrowing them. They get the pieces back, but they get to be part of this process. And what I'm hoping is, say, a year from now, we might have somewhere between 50 and 100 pieces, available, whether on canvas or paper.
Yeah.
And so, I think it's a good idea for the family anyway. There's a lot of work out there of his, because he generally didn't like to do prints unless he was doing, handmade prints, monoprints, ones that you run a true print where you would run in the traditional sense,
Right.
whether it's like an etching or a or a lithograph or something like that, where it's run through a press.
Right, right.
We've got a few pieces like that. Jamie Thompson is a artist from Colville, and she just does amazing work, and she has a press. And what I love about it, I love seeing that embossed line on the edge of it that shows you that this was pressed. This is unique. Some prints they run through more than a few times maybe to get different colors or this or that. And I just love seeing in graphite the number, the title, and the artist's signature. It kind of comes alive for me more in that way. Now, a lot of the paintings that I've sold of Rick's, he would paint the sides of the canvas black, kind of a matte black. I was told he was using black gesso, which is like a heavy underpaint, really, almost like a primer.
Right.
But so what I want to do is, even though we'll go black in the image, typically you can the image starts to repeat as it wraps around the frame, and I don't want that. I want it to look more like his originals, just keeping with that look. So
you're going to go back and paint the outside of the frames.
If I have to paint them, I will. We're going to see how well it turns out. The problem is in the stretching of the piece, it might be irregular on the side.
Right.
But even if it is, I can touch it up, and then on the front, it'll have the number, number 1 of 600 or whatever, and then on the back, hopefully, the family will say yes to my idea, and we'll have that stamp and maybe a certificate of authenticity on the back.
Yeah. Well, what an honor to be entrusted to do this for the estate. That's incredible.
I agree.
An honor and a responsibility.
It is a responsibility.
To get it done right. Yeah.
Well, I run everything I want to do through the family.
Oh, of course.
And so and Rick's sister is one of his sisters is an attorney. So I called her and talked to her, and she was really, really pleasant to deal with, and just kind of said, she just told me to go for it. Originally, I thought we were going to have, and we may still, some type of thing, but she felt, she had good things to say that she had heard from Rick. So I felt lucky, and yeah, it's an honor to, I kept in touch and everything, but it's an honor to have been given this opportunity for this artist. I mean, he was really big in the Inland Northwest. Well, he was national, but he was really big.
Yeah, I recognize it. And say his name again for people listening.
Well, a lot of people knew him as Rick Gendron, Gendron, but when I met him, he had done some research and found that Gendron was the anglicized version of John Droe, that there was a little French in the back, and the name, I believe, was spelled Gendreaux.
Oh, okay.
So he was going, when I met him, because I'd have people come and go, oh, I knew him as Rick Gendron.
Yeah.
I said, well, he's telling me Rick John Droe, so I'm not going to diss the artist on,
Well, I agree with him on that. I think Jean Droe definitely has a little more je ne sais quoi to it.
Well, it was also what the original family name was.
Right.
So, boy, if I knew that, I would want to use the name that my forebears had as well.
Exactly.
So,
there was somebody here locally that had the same last name as me, only without the T in it. It was spelled differently. So we were teasing each other, all the time. Like, oh, we'd be related, but you spell your last name wrong. So she went home and she did some research into her family, because she said her family's from England. Turns out our family were from the same clan back in Scotland 400 years ago.
Really?
And her family, when they moved to England, they dropped the T out of the last name, which around that time, it was like post-Battle of Culloden, where a lot of the Scottish families fled, and they would make small changes to their last name to sort of, escape persecution and
Well,
get away from
like
the
a lot of
British, yeah.
immigrants did coming to the U.S.
Yeah.
You know, Braun became Brown, and
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
you know,
And some of those did come to the U.S. and some went to France, some went to to England, and it turns out we're related.
well, that's funny. But anyway, it is a great project, and I'm really taking. I have all the time in the world to do it right.
Right.
I'm also underwriting it, so you know, we'll have prints probably sooner than later. I've already got 3 prints pre-ordered,
Oh, nice.
so we'll see. You know, I haven't. You know, anyway.
I definitely want to see them.
Yeah, no, it'll be fun. What I plan on doing, I bought some more shelving for the back to store paintings a little bit more efficiently above.
Mm-hmm.
But what I would like to do, I mean, right now, you know, you go in the back room and there's just art from floor to ceiling.
Right.
Well, I'd like to take 2 of those walls and kind of dedicate them to prints. And not just Rick. I've got a print from Narada Carter, local artist.
Mm-hmm.
And Linda Height Cancel's got a print.
Yeah.
But I just kind of want to make that the area of prints on canvas will be here.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I've got I keep adding print racks to the gallery for paper prints.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just find I have to get more and more organized as this thing goes along.
Pretty soon you're going to need one of those rack systems, that's motorized where the shelves go together. You've got the big wheel you turn and
There
they
you
separate.
go.
Yeah.
That wouldn't that be cool?
Right?
Yeah.
I think it'd be great. I have some motors that actually came from one of those sitting in my storage unit.
Wow. Well, I haven't got, I've gotten, I guess the word would be clever. I've just smartened up about how to display the art that I have. When you look at pictures of the gallery when it first opened at this location, we easily have double the amount of art
Yeah.
that we had then. And part of it was just learning how to use that gallery system, which I love. That the wall track with the
Right.
cable and the clips. It took me a few years to really go, okay, I need, I can do this, I can do that, and a little bit more of an investment in time and materials, but that system is awesome.
You know what I would love to see, and here's an idea for you, Tim. Maybe for your 10th anniversary, maybe put together a little compilation of the progress throughout the years from going from your first art gallery to this one, and sort of seeing the evolution of it.
I'll make a little book.
I think that'd be great.
Yeah, I probably won't waste a lot of time on that, but it was quite an evolution as people would come in still and just go, well, I sure like this place better than your old place. It's like, well, yeah.
It's a little bit different than
the
old place.
It's 5 times the size in terms of what I can show.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same size, really, as far as my personal jewelry studio.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a little tight galley kitchen. I have
the
room I need to get my work done.
The little closet in the corner.
Kind of, and but it really changed too. I think once I put a wall up in the back, put the gallery lighting in the back, and got everything up off of stacks, and shelves, and hung it on the wall.
Yeah.
Then the bank, WaFed gave me those chairs and the table, and I brought in a rug from home, and voila, people like to hang out back there and
got your cozy little back room, have some snacks.
Get their back room,
Glass of wine.
a glass of wine in hand, and enjoying it.
Right.
But enjoying seeing a lot of art too. So, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it is enjoyable. I've been back there myself with a glass in my hand and admiring the view. Yeah.
And there's, as I get it cleaned up and organized, I realize I've got even more room than I think.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot, but I can just be more efficient, and so it's fun to have that.
Oh, absolutely.
Originally, I thought, oh, wouldn't this be great if I had a Murphy bed back here and a second bathroom and a bike rack, and I could come into work and, bike in, take a shower, it'd be like a little apartment back
Take a
here.
nap.
But, yeah, exactly. Nah, I'll take a nap out on the couches in front.
Right.
I wish I could nap like that.
Just right in front of as one of the displays.
Yeah.
Look, here's a piece called Tim Napping,
Yes. Yeah.
an evening siesta. I love it. So, did you see yourself in 10 years ago being where you are now? Could you ever imagine the success that you've had with the gallery?
I imagined part of it, to be honest with you. I didn't see myself in the space that we're in now.
Right.
I mean, when we first got into the space on 395, the gallery was just 10 by 20.
Right.
And then I had that, I put in that wall and then the glass door into my studio.
Mm-hmm.
And, we outgrew that thing the first 4 or 5 shows. That was it, And so opening up and going through, because the interior of the building was empty at the time, or, they weren't using that space. So creating the bigger door opening that I did, so when you come in and you would look to that back wall, I wanted to be able to see art on the wall
Right.
30 feet away. And it really changed the scale of the gallery right
Mhm.
there. And that big desk I had, I put it in that room, and it neatly, you didn't see it.
Yeah.
So when you first came in, you just saw art and going into art into the back. And it was, for a small gallery, I mean, it was that for a small space, it was as good as some of the Pearl District galleries I've been to in Portland, you
Mhm.
know. And so it's not just the size, it's the feel. We were lucky. It's 11-foot ceiling.
Right.
And I tweaked the lighting in there, and it really became a nice little spot. But
Yeah.
when we were ready to move, we were ready to move.
Oh, I can imagine.
I mean, I was just like, I've just outgrown this place again, and we were just lucky that all those vacant buildings on Main Street at the time, at least we had choice.
Right. Right.
So, but the space that we're in now is perfect. Honestly, I can't imagine anything better, really. I wouldn't want it bigger, because I would just create a bigger mess for myself. I think
Right.
it's actually a pretty nice size. I think it's manageable.
I think it is a nice size, and it still takes you a while to get through and see everything. I think any more than that, and it might.
But it
you'd
still
have to-
feels kind of boutiquey.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah. I think any more than that, you'd have to. You wouldn't get quite as many walk-ins, because it'd be something you'd have to plan for, like going to a museum or.
It'd be like an art warehouse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or something, and
then you'd really have to get those movable shelves in the back.
well, then you really have to move art.
Right. Right.
I feel fortunate in that I've got a jewelry business, wholesale and
Right.
retail, behind the gallery in the space.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all contributing to the success of the, it's paying the bills.
Yeah.
I'll get people to come in, are you actually making it here? Which really,
Well, first of all, none of your business.
exactly. I was going to say, first of all, it seems kind of rude.
Right.
Secondly, it's like, well, I don't know. We're in our 10th year. What do you think?
Right. Right.
And it's just,
Wow.
but that's okay.
So did you? I know. Obviously, when you first started with the gallery, you were making jewelry, and you had your space. You were primarily jewelry maker, right? Then you expanded to the gallery, or did you do both at the same time?
When I got that space, I just thought, this is way too big. There's show space here, and I don't want to be a retail jeweler like that.
Right.
That has to have a lot of inventory. So the old space was 20 by 18.
Mm-hmm.
So I ran a wall down the 10-foot wide, so it was 20 by 10 for the gallery,
Mm-hmm.
with the doorway going through, and I left 2 clear stories up above.
Yeah.
so I would get daylight through that front glass door, and that's why I chose a glass door
Yeah.
to the studio, because I need to be able to see outside.
Yeah.
Just for my
Otherwise, you feel
personal
like you're in a
health.
cave, like I am
Exactly.
here.
Exactly. And then that building, that space, it had a closet. Well, I ended up running water. I turned the closet into had a really nice sink, and
Mhm.
that's my little casting area, and where my steamer and the sink and everything, very efficient,
Right.
but in that area. And then of course the restrooms in that building were common use, with the insurance company
Right.
out front. We all shared the same bathrooms. But anyway, but when I started, I moved up here, gosh, it was like mid-October of 2015, and then the race was on.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at it, and this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to start. I just thought, I'm just going to start a gallery.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to do with the space. When I have extra work, I'll put it in the gallery. And other than that, I will just lean on my art friends. And of course, Jackie Brewer was my first show. Loved her work. And then Dave Anderson was
Mhm.
my second show. And then I kept getting referrals. Oh, if you talk to this person, talk to that person. Maybe you might want to get this artist. They're kind of, there's the artists that were pretty established
Right.
in Chewelah. And the only problem was they had already sold to everyone in Chewelah. So you wouldn't always get much of a sale going on because they had already sold to everybody.
Right.
And really, why do they need to be in a gallery when they're kind of have their own thing going?
Right.
But I knew I wanted to meet Dave Govedare, and I
Mhm.
wanted to meet Narada Carter. So I got Narada to agree to a show, but he would only do it if Dave would show a few pieces too. So I got both of them in that way, and then
Wow.
of course it went on. That was mostly Narada's work, but I had Dave's in there too.
Yeah.
And then I had two more shows with Dave. Two more after that with Dave, and then of course, sadly, his last show he passed. I
Right.
think that was November 2021.
Yeah. And you were already in your new space at that
No,
point.
no, I was at the old space.
Oh, were you still in the
Yep.
old space? Okay.
Yep, I was at that space, and of course, it sold out because he was no longer with us. So
Right.
everything sold.
Right. And so Narada, I believe I just saw he's got that new that Bigfoot painting that's
Yeah.
that's over at the
I think it's at Sporty's.
yes, it's Sporty's.
Yeah.
And I remember when I first saw that, going through and looking at some of the other pieces, really love Narada's work. It's really his use of color. It's him, right? Is it Narada? That's
Yeah,
that's
Narada.
Him. Okay,
Narada Carter.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
right. Because all the pictures is the guy with the beard and the red hair.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I thought. Yeah, just the flow of the colors and the images and everything just kind of has this sort of liquid quality to it.
Yeah, it's very finely crafted.
Yeah.
I've sold a couple of his prints in the last couple months. I've sold a few originals of his. There just wasn't a lot to sell from,
Mm-hmm.
but they were big sales.
Yeah.
They were fun. It's just fun anytime you sell anybody's work, especially bigger. So
Yeah. Yeah, very cool. And like I said, I love it's a lot of it sort of almost has a flow, like almost like a liquid flow to it, or it's very geometric. It's all very it leans towards just when you think it's sort of realism, then it just sort of you look a little closer and it's not. And I really love that about his work. So I can appreciate that.
yeah, well, he really takes his time
Yeah. Yeah,
You know.
you can tell.
to do it. He likes to work with fractal images, which are repeating images, whether they're scaled geometrically or whatever in nature,
Yeah.
and and fractals are everywhere.
Absolutely.
Anywhere you see any kind of repetition in nature, that's basically a fractal of
Yeah.
something next to it, and he likes that. So when you look at his things, sometimes he more overtly breaks it down into fractal images,
Mm-hmm.
and but he's a really good painter. His
Oh yeah.
high level of craft,
Yeah.
and he puts a lot of time into his work.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sorry, I'm mesmerized. I got a video of him up painting something here, and I got to turn it off because I'm getting distracted. But yeah, so do you have any idea? We were talking about this 10 years, and talking about some of your first shows. Do you have any idea, off the top of your head, how many shows you've done, roughly?
Well, I would say on average, I started the Winterfest 6 years ago. This one coming up will be the 7th year, but that takes over kind of January, February, March, April.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the remaining 8 months, 2 shows a month, 4. So I've probably had 40 shows.
Yeah.
Plus the Winterfest.
Yeah.
Plus the plein air events. Yeah.
You want to keep adding pluses to that?
And I didn't start, making the posters till Narada's show. He was like in the last 2 months of my second year.
Mm-hmm.
He was my artist, and I decided, I need to make a poster.
Yeah.
And my image, or my thought for a poster was kind of like these really beautiful museum art posters,
Right.
where they're just well done. Just the art right front and center, and then a title to the show, and then the name, and then just the, where is it at?
Sometimes less is more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the show coming up for September, it's Amalia Fish, and this will be my second show with Amalia, and really good painter, really interesting
Nice
stuff, and she really pushes her craft continually, and very, very professional. Matter of fact, she grew up in Argentina. I believe that she went to Cornish in Seattle as well.
Wow.
And now and then studied back in Argentina under another artist, female artist. And now she's been living in, I believe, Spokane for 25 years. But really interesting painter. I love her work. I represent her right now. So we've had a show with her, which did really well at the old location. So I'm just excited. So her poster is really nice, and it's a single image on it. But it is kind of fun to do those every time. I'm always looking for the right font, or the right image, and it really helps. She was very specific about what she wanted. So that helps.
Yeah.
It pushes me to, I don't put it to print until the artist says that looks great,
Right.
or
right.
could you do this too, or
I've been trying to hone up my Canva skills, and I'm a little slow, but I'm getting there. I'm doing some stuff, but yeah, what my wife's been doing graphic design for decades, and what she can do in 15 minutes takes me a couple days of fretting back and forth and moving stuff a tiny little bit, and then undoing it, and moving it somewhere else, and
well, I learned that part pretty quick, but it's to me, it's just, I think, really finding the right image or combination of images.
right.
And then, you can only work with what the artist gives you.
True.
But when you get a really good one, then it's really fun to optimize it. And I'm always like finding a color that's within that painting that I really like, and maybe doing a derivative of it for the color of the font.
Yeah.
And then maybe a background color that pulls from, maybe it's only a couple spots in that painting, but it, and just playing with contrast and
Right.
and yeah, it's to me it's you could have all kinds of stuff, sponsors, this, that on it, but I want it pretty clean.
Yeah.
And these things, they end up down at Spokane Arts, the Spokane Arts School. The artists usually take them and put them up. I put them up here when I have time. They get put up in Colville, and I send them, I have that poster then digitally. So once I post it, it gets reposted. And my posts regularly go out to about 1,400 people.
Yeah.
Per post. And on a really good one, it's been as high as 2,500 because people shared, and it just kind of not really went viral. But it got legs, and the whole point here is we're growing this, and my artist, Gina Fruin, she's a Spokane artist. She taught. Our current artist show is Gina Fruin, and her ceramic sculpture is nothing short of amazing.
It really
really,
is.
really interesting. The color, she's so deep into her craft, and it just shows. Not only that, she's a really good sculptor.
She is.
And she's just a good artist.
And a lot of her pieces, I was speaking with her when she was here last time. You look at the piece and you don't realize how some of those, they're
keep
functional,
looking at it
and they come apart, and this part comes apart, and it's like, and then they go back together, and it's almost seamless, and it's fun.
It's just real. Her stuff, I never get tired of looking at it.
Right.
You want every show to be successful. You want to have sold enough pieces for the artist that they felt like, wow, I want to come back.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't make that happen. You can set the best table you want,
right,
that you can put together, but you can't make people eat. So,
right.
We really, my mission is just to keep showing really good art. And
well, so far so good.
Yeah, so it's fun, and it's the longer we've gone with it, the more we're back to almost being 2 years out on shows.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of where you want to be. But most artists that I know of, they want a year to get prepared for a show.
Yeah.
And so that's just not unreasonable to be a year and a half, 2 years out.
No, especially they want to put their best foot forward and bring some original pieces. And
well, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it's I really think the artist is mostly responsible for the success of their show.
Mm-hmm.
Is it, and it's got to be tough. I would think for some artists might just be doing the most amazing, conceptually driven or whatever, great art, and yet nothing sells.
Right.
What is that? I can't. Are they asking too much? Or, you can't always put your finger on it. What's hot and what's not.
Right.
And sometimes in our gallery, it's not always the most refined work which is selling too, but it's just interesting.
Right.
What is the public, and it's fun, and I feel like our mission is to present new stuff. I guess you're in the position a little bit of, I don't know, not really educating people, but, just exposing them to different things, and people, everyone's their own, it's a subjective experience.
It is.
And sure, there's a piece that everybody goes for, that would be the people's choice,
Right. And
sometimes everyone can,
and sometimes it's not the one you expect.
It can become a popular piece, doesn't mean it'll sell,
mm-hmm.
but it touched people more. So what I'm hearing from artists right now is especially in Spokane, is that the gallery scenes, pretty slow.
Yeah.
And maybe people are hanging on to their money a little bit, waiting for
Mhm.
the other shoe to drop. Seeing how the economy
There's-
and cuts and things, how it,
There's some economy stuff
know.
going on right now.
yeah,
Yeah, for
but
sure.
I do think that, Gina was really smart, Fruin. She's got pieces that started, I think, $90.
Mm-hmm.
I think her most expensive piece was $1,700, which is a chunk of change, but it's one hell of a piece of sculpture, and it is the one you were talking about. It's
Yeah.
it's four different sculptures that assemble,
Yeah.
or four different pieces, 5 if you count the lid on the teapot.
Right.
You know,
The look on my face when she started pulling all that apart in front of me, I was looking at it and I was like, wow, this is amazing. And she's like, oh no, just look.
yes. See, that I just think that's really neat. A lot of thought went into her, and that was her. I like her whole idea. I was reading where she was, whatever, a decade or so ago, started exploring when functional becomes non-functional.
Mhm.
She was making functional things, but what if I make it this size? Then
Right.
it's not really functional for that, but it's still something that everybody knows what it is.
Yeah.
And now it really is a piece of sculpture. So I thought that was really fun. And then she's adding a bit of whimsy, and then she's into that soda firing and all the atmospheric effects that take place in a soda-fired kiln.
Oh yeah.
And that is just a rabbit hole to go down. And every time she fires, there's just going to be the law of unintended consequences and happy accidents and things that go, oh, I wish that didn't blow up or whatever.
Right.
I'm sure, every ceramic artist I know.
Probably something they work
You
really
know.
hard on, they're really proud of, and it comes out of that kiln and it's in 1,000 pieces.
It happens,
It happens to all of them.
Yeah.
One of the things speaking of Gina, and that piece, one of the things I noticed that was really fun was to watch her watching people's reactions. And her really, you could tell she was really, when people had that same reaction I did, she wasn't looking at her piece. She wasn't, showing off her piece. She was watching those people and feeding off of the reactions. She
Yeah,
gets
that
off
must
those
be
people.
fun. That must
And
be fun.
You could tell that was the part she was really enjoying, and I enjoyed watching her enjoy
Well,
it.
I think she really enjoyed the show open.
Yeah.
She gave a really nice talk. Wasn't as many. It was the evening before the 4th of July.
Yeah.
4th of July.
Yeah.
So, we didn't have the turnout at the art talk that I was hoping for. We might have had 25 people.
Right.
But they were engaged and they were asking her questions and oohing and awing, and there was definitely feedback. And then she went home. She didn't come over for the preview, but the next night, I honestly thought that we could hit 200, and I'll bet we still had probably 120 people.
Mhm.
It was a pretty good turnout,
It was.
and she thought it was great.
Yeah.
And I said, well, awesome. I'm, it was a decent turnout. I said, I was actually expecting more than this, but she had fun, and she was talking with people a lot. She was being engaged in conversation, and people were having fun, and,
Absolutely.
yeah, the wine and chocolate were going fast.
As they do.
And
And they go well together.
it was just fun. Every first Thursday to me feels like a customer appreciation party.
Yeah.
And it's
I like
just
that.
a fun social event. People don't have to buy anything,
Right.
but they can come and look, and it doesn't hurt to look.
Oh yeah.
And
Well, I've been to almost every one, and I love you and I love your gallery, but on a radio station salary, I can't afford any of it.
but it's fun. Showing
is.
up
It
supports the art.
It does.
It's. Can you imagine you have the best art in there and only 40 people show up?
Mm-hmm.
40 people could show up and one might buy a piece of art. 120 shows up and maybe buy one or two pieces of art, but all those people generating that activity and the energy.
Yeah.
And I think, someone always ends up buying some other piece as well, not just the art that's up front,
Yeah.
the new stuff, but other stuff. Sometimes people got to come back 5 or 6 times before they go, wow, I think I really want that.
Well, I mean, and as an artist, I mean, of course the money's nice, but to see the people enjoying your work, I think that's what makes it. That's just as rewarding. And
I would imagine that's got to be really affirming. It's an affirmation to me anytime anyone buys a piece of my jewelry.
Oh yeah.
I'm grateful that they see something in it, especially when it's like my silver stuff that I'm really, or the stuff that I really put some design time in on, and maybe took a flyer on. Ooh, I'm gonna do this. I mean, who makes a cuff bracelet that's a squid, with diamonds for eyes?
I don't know, but I like it.
And I sold 5 of them, and it just kind of blew me away. What started as a little pet project for Melissa Cole. She goes, just make me something. Ended up that a lot of other people wanted it as well.
You had me at squid.
So it's neat. I just enjoy it, and if the rain felt good today, I gotta say, I felt like,
I went out for a walk in it.
Did you?
Oh, I did. Yeah, I went around walking downtown earlier. It was wonderful.
But then here we're in the inland Northwest, and it's sunny and beautiful out right now.
Right.
And so I do kind of enjoy the summer shows that there can be a little bit more like a block party sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially when the Spotlight Gallery has their pop-up gallery in the Huff Center.
We got the doors open.
Really easy to transit back and forth, and and Craig and DeBratz are pounding out the music
with the door open
at the brewery at Fired Up next door, and General Store's got the barbecue going, and Sporty's, of course.
It really does feel like a block party.
It does. I mean, it's very concentrated in terms of culinary arts and art.
Exactly.
And music.
Exactly.
And 3-dimensional arts, whatever. So it really makes this block feel really fun. And boy, doesn't it feel so complete now that SETI's is up?
Oh,
I love looking over there, that corner view.
Oh, yeah.
That old, that throwback sign they did,
but with the modern black side.
Yes,
and
yes.
It's such a neat combination.
They really, really invested and saved the brick arches, and I really I love shopping in there. I was in there twice.
And when my wife sees
I was in there today. I was in there twice yesterday, and I don't get tired of going in there.
Oh no.
Because I'm still learning where everything is on the store, although it's imprinting pretty quick.
And when my wife looks at our bill, our bank statement, honey, the money I spent at SETI's today was necessary. Don't question it.
Well, yeah, I'm there. I'll bet I'm there a couple times a week.
Oh yeah, yeah, easily.
But it's just so, it seems. I mean, it's already done and up and everything, but it was. That the memory of the shell of that building is the new building is so amazing that you almost kind of forget what it was.
Right. I was thinking the same thing before. Like the memory of that shell is so ingrained in my brain. I don't think it'll ever go away. But then I walk in there and I have a hard time connecting the two.
Yeah, the new memory is so amazing.
Yeah.
It's such a cool building. And then, of course, you just step out and there's the Yale Press, which I love. I go there 5-6 days a week,
I was there earlier too.
It's fun, and I love it when there's art up on the walls, and that was fun sharing the plein air show with them, and I really want that to be the way that we do that show as it grows, then
have those pieces
it would be
everywhere.
awesome if next year we had 50% more art, then we had to add another location.
Yeah.
You know, and then that will move everybody, on a it does move people, that they're gonna see the rest of the shows over here, and then it kind of helps, but it's fun. It's not. I always thought of that when I was talking about that show with Gail Johannes, actually, really, because I think she put the bug in my ear about the whole show, because she had just done a plein air show, one that she was invited to down at WSU or down that way in the Palouse.
Right.
And but I've always just thought this has just got to be an all-town thing, kind of like I've thought about the Winterfest.
Yeah.
When Mike Waters and I are sitting there sipping wine, going, this should be an all-town event. There should be a snowman competition there. What crazy things can,
Absolutely.
So I'm just glad that it worked out, that it's an all-town thing, because I think they did an exceptional job with it. And you're always tinkering with the process, I'm sure. And the weather can really change things.
Yeah. I was going to say, last couple of Winterfests, we haven't been able to have a snowman building contest. There's been no snow.
I know, yeah. But, one of these years we're probably going to get walloped, and it'll be an interesting deal.
I'm waiting for it. It's been, how many years has it been since we've had a real white, snowy winter where we had, you had to bring out the 4-wheel drive, and
I want it like some Canadian one where they all got those hats with the ear flaps that come down.
Yeah.
And we're all trucking around in our Sorels and our big, heavy, buffalo plaid coats, and
I'm ready.
Saying, "Yeah, you betcha."
Oh yeah.
I'll have another one.
What I hate is when it gets to negative degrees and there's still no snow on the ground, and that's
a bit rough.
That makes it bite so much harder than if
that's got to be hard as a musician, I would think. You're a guitar player, and it's got to be. I know that. I think you guys set up heaters for him this year or something.
Yeah,
didn't you?
one of the heaters wasn't working, and we ended up at Winterfest. We cut the last band off after a few songs because the audience had left. It was too cold to be out there.
Oh, really? Wow.
And the band they weren't able to play. Their fingers were cramping, and they couldn't feel their strings. And it's like, okay, guys, let's just thank you for coming out. Go home.
Wow. See, well, there's that challenge.
Yeah.
But I think it still has a lot of energy around it, Winterfest.
It does.
And
it does.
And the town all lit up and everything. I like it. What town is it? It's like Telluride or something, where they string lights from building to building all throughout Main Street.
I think that would be amazing.
It just looks so cool. Yeah, it's neat looking.
If anyone would like to donate 500 strings of those party lights, bring them on down.
And some electrical time. Have to figure that out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, all these buildings. Well, some of the buildings have like apartments or something above them, and maybe.
Yeah, but I mean, you could probably run it all and centralize it, so it would be easy to turn it on and off. Because
go solar.
I could see where you would. That would be really cool for some summer soiree on Main Street or something.
Yeah.
Still having those kind of lights. They're really kind of romantic and fun.
They are. They are. They never get old.
Yeah, they really. It helps the festive mood.
It does. It does. We'll tell you what, Tim. We are over our time.
Holy cow!
Yeah. We're about
again.
We're about 10 minutes over, but it's always a pleasure.
We never do that.
Never. Well, it's always a pleasure having you. So, remind us of the times and what's going on for the Winterfest. Not the Winterfest, for the Art Walk tomorrow.
Okay, we've got Nancy Bloom at Quartzsite Brewing. The Art Walk is 5 to 8. We've got at the Spotlight Gallery Jerry Lynn Lockwood, Amber Semenza, Wendy Coleman.
Mm-hmm.
And then there'll be, I think, Craig McQuain and his and DeBratz will be, and I think there might even be a street band, but I don't remember. I tend to kind of focus on the visual art.
If somebody set it up, it wasn't me.
Okay.
But
right.
I wasn't able to get anybody.
All right. Well, maybe there isn't then. And then, of course, at Trails End Gallery, we've got the incredible ceramic sculpture by Gina Fruin.
Yes.
We've got a new artist, Elsie. Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank here. We've got new work by Gail Johannes, Elsie Stewart.
Okay.
New work by Elsie Stewart. People can see some of Rick Jandro's work in the back of the gallery. It's up on the wall. It's not available for sale yet, but see what the project encompasses. And, people are always bringing in a new piece here, a new piece there. Brad McDonald out in the window, metal sculpture. The gallery looks smoking right now.
Nice. I'll have to come and get a sneak peek maybe tomorrow during the day.
Yeah, you should.
Oh wait, no, I gotta go to Spokane tomorrow. I'll be back. I have my shift with the Creative District is 6:30 tomorrow. I gotta make it back from Spokane before.
Okay, all right.
But I will definitely swing by and check it out tomorrow.
Yeah, it should be good. I think
Yeah.
the weather will be with us, and should be a good night.
I hope so. I think it will. Well, it'll be a good night no matter what. So
Yeah, people just have to show up.
I'd say even especially if we get some rain, it'll be a good night.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So again, thank you, Tim, so much for coming on. Come on out.
Thank
and
you.
check everything out at the Art Walk tomorrow night, 5 to 8 p.m. downtown. Lots of great stuff going on, like we all talked about. And you can stay tuned right here tonight from 6 to 8 p.m. for Out of the Woods, 8 to 9 p.m. for Kelton a Twist. Wait a minute. No, I was reading tomorrow's. Back up. All right. I've been doing that all day. I've been a day off. I don't know what's wrong with me.
It's okay.
I keep-
Wednesday.
I keep thinking
it's
today
Wednesday,
is Thursday.
Chuck.
Yes,
It's
thank
Wednesday.
you. So 6 to 9 p.m. is 6 to 8 p.m. rather, Music for the Mountain. 8 to 10 p.m. is Dirt Road Blues with our very own Dirt Road Doug McQuain live in the studio. Then from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. is Planetary Radio, Sea Change Radio, Echo Shock Total, and Earth Date. And tune in tomorrow morning to see myself and Gina Greenwood on the morning show, where we'll be inspiring youth. And we have a wonderful young guest on tomorrow who just got done stage managing the production of Anne of Green Gables
Oh,
for the Teen Conservatory Theater. And she herself is quite the actress. She's been in a bunch of stuff. And we're going to find out who that is tomorrow. Yeah. You know who it is. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening to About the Arts. We ran a little bit over, but we're going to get back to the music now. You guys have a great one. We'll see you later. Say goodbye, Tim.
cheers. It's fun. We get on a roll and just.
And now we return you to our regular scheduled program in progress.
Programming made possible by donations from the following.
SETI's Ace Hardware.
SETI's Ace Hardware is now reopened in their original